Hello students, 11 Science and 11 Commerce. I am going to teach you the poem Once Upon a Time, and it is written by Gabriel Okara. So Once Upon a Time is a free verse poem that focuses on a father's attitude to cultural change and times past before the incoming Western culture affected the Native American way of life. In this poem, the man addresses the son, telling him in a rather nostalgic manner how things used to be. People were different back then, more genuine it seemed, and that is what the speaker would like to do now. Return to a restored world if he can only learn from the youngster. Back then, people were not after your money. They could look you in the eye and smile, the real smiles. But nowadays, although the smiling teeth are on show and they will shake your hand, all they want to know is your financial status. And so the poem progresses, the early stanzas revealing more of the negative changes that have occurred during the father's lifetime. He is old enough to have watched decent human standards drop to the wayside as Western ideals. So the speaker wants to relearn from the as yet untamed son. That means the son is very young, and the father wants to learn from the son how to laugh and be genuine again. It is rather a pathetic plea coming from the adult to the youngster. For what can the son realistically do? Can the clocks be put back? Can we go back through the help of time machine? If we can, then we need to change ourselves and be more better and good. Can ancient culture be retrieved from the overwhelming modern culture? In the poem, the tone is ironic. Perhaps the speaker knows deep inside that he will never regain that is purity. He won't be able to turn back time and relive life as transformed person. That's why the title could be from a fairy tale. The speaker wishes are a fantasy. So who is Gabriel Okara? Gabriel Okara is born in 1921 and died in the year 2019. Is considered to be one of the first modern African poets. Born in Nigeria, he uses folklore, religion, myth, and social issues to explore tradition and transition. His work first appeared in the magazine Black Orpheus from 1957. The Fisherman's Invocations published in 1978. Let me read the poem for you all. Once upon a time, son, they used to laugh with their hearts and laugh with their eyes. But now they only laugh with their teeth, while their eyes block cold eyes search behind my shadow. There was a time, indeed, they used to shake hands with their hearts, but that's gone, son. Now they shake hands without hearts, while their left hands search my empty pockets. Feel at home, come again, they say, and when I come again and feel at home, once, twice, there'll be no tries, for then I find doors shut on me. So I have learned many things, son. I have learned to wear my faces like dresses: home face, office face, street face, host face, cocktail face, with all the confirming smiles like a fixed portrait smile. As I have learned too to laugh with only my teeth and shake hands without my heart, I've also learned to say goodbye when I meet good riddance, to say glad to meet you without being glad, and to say it's been nice talking to you after being bored. But believe me, son, I want to be what I used to be. When I was like you, I want to unlearn all these muting things. Most of all, I want to relearn how to laugh. For my laugh is in the mirror, shows only my teeth like a snake's bare fangs. So show me, son, how to laugh. How we should laugh and smile. Once upon a time, I was like you. So in the first stanza, the poet is trying to tell us that this poem is based on a story. It's like a fairy tale. The speaker is addressing his son, so this could be a father beginning to explain how things used to be, how people they used to laugh with their heart and eyes back in the past. In contrast, nowadays, laughter more of a show of teeth, and the eyes are cold and looking for something other than real person. So already the present is being judged by the past, and from what we can gather from this first six lines, the speaker prefers the attitudes of the people from the past, there is the feeling that negative changes is here in the present. Second stanza, the art of shaking hands has also changed. In the past, a greeting was genuine, a person welcome for who they were, but nowadays people shake hands with one, you know, hand, and on the other eye will be on your status, your financial money, your amount that is there in your bank. People are no longer genuinely warm towards others. People are on the make, wanting to get something from you. In the third stanza, people invite you round to their homes, making out as if you are important to them. But if you don't measure up socially, or your status isn't quite right, you are not invited again. The alienation continues. People nowadays are artificial and fickle because of the change in culture. In the fourth stanza, the first three stanzas outline the speaker's perception of changing culture and attitudes and values in his country. This fourth stanza describes how the speaker himself had to change and learn in order to comply. He uses a comparison focused faces to dresses to highlight the various personas he look on while smiling. For example, there is office face, there is a teacher face, there is a friendly face. That means we are carrying faces all around, all artificial faces. The question is, which is our real face? That is the very biggest question. In this stanza, in the fourth stanza, the poet is asking that we are carrying a lot of faces. Office face, cocktail party face, home face, host face. Which is our real face? What we are genuinely? So we need to think about it. In the fifth stanza, he also have become adept to the heartless handshake and hollow toothy smile. Plus, he knows how to deceive people with his farewells and welcomes and false politeness. Basically, he is saying that he has become an integral part of this new culture. It's been quite an education for him. The last two stanzas, sixth stanza, but he's not happy being a conformist. He wants to regain the former innocence the younger still holds. He wants to be like a child. He wants to really laugh, really shake hands, really make friends. He does not want to be an artificial person of today's generation. Okay? In the seventh, the last stanza, he comes clean. He wants the sun to show him how to regain the lost innocence, how to laugh and smile like in the old days when he was young and carefree, and the culture encourage openness and honesty, a pure identity. So this poem basically is what is a father's request to the son. Generally, a son learns from the father, yes or no? But here it's opposite. The father is requesting the son to teach me to be a good human being, because today's society have made us so evil. Okay, when we see friends, we don't consider them friends. We only smile at them with our teeth, but inside we hate them. We have jealousy for them. We are jealous for their marks. We are jealous for their money, their car, their belongingness. We are jealous everywhere. We don't think about our own potentiality, capacity, hard work. We only think one thing, that how can we defeat someone else? First defeat should be done to our own selves, the evil self of our. Okay, when we will be able to defeat our own evil self, then only we will be able to win. So basically, in short, what I'm trying to tell you is that in this poem, the poet is trying to say that we need to be like a small child. Okay, a small child smiles innocently. There is no fake thing in that smile. But nowadays we smile with a fake attitude. Even if you don't like you, I will smile at you. Okay, hi, hello, how are you? But inside I may hate you. Why do you need to show this artificiality? Be real, be genuine. But that world have, society have taught us, this present world have taught us to be artificial, okay, to be evil, but we should not be. So the father in the poem asking the son, okay, to teach him, okay, to become innocent, to become pure, okay, to smile with heart, okay, to shake hands with the heart, okay, to be a good genuine human being. All right, so this is what I need to tell you. In this poem, you have to learn how the father is getting training from the son, requesting the son to train him to be a good human being. That's all. I hope that you have understood this poem, and if you have any confusion, you can message me. And I want all of you to view this video and also subscribe.